It's the 15th of March 2017, and you are listening to the Paul Clark podcast. So there's to be another referendum, but this time, it isn't a referendum, it isn't a vote on whether we, the United Kingdom of Great Britain, Scotland and Northern Ireland, this isn't a vote as to whether we want to remain in the European Union. We did that last year, and we've decided to Brexit. No. This is a vote, the second of which only in 2.5 years. This is a vote for Scotland and the SNP, the Scottish National Party, who want to give the Scottish people another referendum only 2.5 years after the last one in 2014. They want to give the Scottish people another vote as to whether they want to remain a part of Great Britain or become an independent nation altogether. To which my response to all this is, go ahead. Do it. Why? Vote for independence. Go it alone. Separate from the UK, Scotland. Nicola Sturgeon is either a very brave or very stupid woman. I can't quite figure her out. This is the gamble of her political career, and it could so easily backfire. Now, this isn't a done deal, by the way. Now, Nicola Sturgeon has said that the vote must take place between August of 2018 and the spring of 2019. But Theresa May can easily ignore this. You know, Scotland, as much as they hate it, is still a part of the United Kingdom as of right now. And until they vote to leave, they always will be. So they still have to seek permission from Parliament, from Westminster, from the government that we have elected, which is a Conservative-led government. So Theresa May still needs to get permission. Nicola Sturgeon still needs to get permission from Theresa May. And unless she does that, I mean, she could theoretically just ignore the will of the British government. You know, if Theresa May and the Conservative government and the powers that be of Westminster refuse to give her the green light for the referendum in Scotland, yeah, Nicola Sturgeon could go it alone. But it won't be a legitimate referendum then. You know, it will call into question the legitimacy of the vote for independence. So she must seek, if she's serious about this, if Nicola Sturgeon, leader of the Scottish National Party, the SNP, is serious about giving the people of Scotland their independence, she has to seek a legitimate vote from Westminster. Which has kind of put her... I mean, this is all sort of set the cat amongst the pigeons, and it's kind of created a bit of a rivalry between two of the most powerful women in this country, our Prime Minister Theresa May and the Scottish National Party leader Nicola Sturgeon. And it's basically now a tug of war between those two. Nicola Sturgeon wants independence for Scotland, but Theresa May is saying, you're not getting a vote until after I've sorted out this whole Brexit negotiation. And make no mistake, dear listener, for that is what this is all about. This has nothing to do with Scottish independence. Nicola Sturgeon doesn't care about that. But this has everything to do with the Scottish National Party not being happy that the people of the United Kingdom have voted to leave the European Union. Scotland, much like London, much like Cardiff, all of Scotland was pro-Remain. It's not to say that there weren't people in Scotland that didn't vote Brexit, because obviously there were, just as I'm sure there were some people in London and Cardiff that voted Brexit. But unilaterally, Scotland, much like London, much like Cardiff, had a very strong turnout of Remain voters. But that's what all this is about. Scotland feel that they are being dragged out against their will, dragged out of Europe by the vote for Brexit. That they feel that they're being dragged out against their will by people like me who voted for Brexit. And I just want to talk about that for a second, if I could, because I had a great weekend, a very interesting weekend, in London, in the capital. It was my birthday, so I thank you very much to everyone that sent me some kind birthday messages. And for my birthday, I got to hang out with my friend, with Alex, go and check out his podcast. He's doing an amazing job there, and a couple of his friends. And it was a great weekend. I really enjoyed it, but it was a very intense weekend. There was a lot of fierce political discussion, and the subject of Brexit came up quite a lot. And look, I love London a lot. I really, really, really do. I love the architecture there. I love the public transport. I love, the high street, the shops. I love the hustle and bustle. I could easily live in the city. If the opportunity ever presented itself for me to move down to London, it's a done deal. I'm going. I'm going faster than you can say Sasquatch. I would never pass up the opportunity to live in that extraordinary city. But here's the problem with that extraordinary city. And this is what I learnt through hanging around with Alex and a couple of his friends, was that it's a city that, obviously, like Scotland, voted for Remain. It's a city that believes strongly in the European Union. And I think the people of that city, certainly some of the friends that I was acquainting myself with on Saturday with Alex, and I still call them friends. I might disagree with them politically, but I still would call them friends. But they seem to think in London, in the inner cities, and the people of Scotland, and I've no doubt Cardiff, feel the same way. Anywhere or anybody, wherever there was anyone that was a Remain voter, seems to think that those who voted Brexit did it for racist, bigotry reasons, and it was all about immigration. It was all about immigration. Now, Nicola Sturgeon, she believes passionately in immigration, and believes in the come one, come all mentality, which to me I've always found crazy. I mean, I've always said with the subject of immigration that, look, I have no problem with immigration as long as it's legal. If you're illegal, we don't want you here. Get out. Get out. We don't want you here. You're illegal. You do not belong. If you're legal, no problem. But it does get people's backs up. And I talked about this with the company that I was keeping in London over the weekend. And I said, quite confidently, because I genuinely believe this, that the vote for Brexit had nothing to do with immigration. Nothing to do with it. Now, people may think I'm mad for saying that, but it had nothing to do with it. It had less to do with immigration and more to do with the fact that people just wanted their country back. And that includes migrants, people that have come here legally from other countries in Europe and elsewhere, those that certainly had a vote anyway, those that could vote. They probably feel the same. They probably felt, yeah, you know what? We don't want to be a part of Europe. The French, they don't want to be a part of Europe. That's why if Marine Le Pen wins in the spring of this year, she's going to go and give the French people a referendum. And if they vote to get out, then the whole European Union will collapse. But it won't be anything to do with immigration. I'm not saying that everybody thinks that, because obviously there probably are some people that do it for racist, anti-immigrant views. But the vast majority of people voted for Brexit, as I believe the French people would vote for Frexit, not to do with immigration, but to do with wanting to be independent. And I said this to Alex and his friends over the weekend, but how can it be fair that New Zealand, Australia, America, Canada, Japan, Mexico, China, they're all independent countries. They're all independent. Why can't we be? Why do we have to be a part of some bureaucracy? I don't get it. Are we not a great country? And if it wasn't for the fact that I really liked these people, and some of my closest friends are those that voted Remain. In fact, all the people that I count as my closest friends, with the exception of one or two, voted Remain. But if I didn't like them so much, I would almost think that they hated this country. That they didn't think we had the ability to stand on our own 2 feet. I know that's not the case. Of course I know that's not the case. But I think we can do it, can't we? I think we can stand on our own 2 feet. And as long as we are united, as long as we are a united kingdom, then we can more than stand on our own 2 feet. And we're more than grown up enough to go out there and make a name for ourselves. But we've got to be united. This is why I don't like the idea of Scotland breaking away from the UK. And something that I heard just a moment ago on the news that kind of really upset me. I mean, I don't know why I still watch the news, really, but I do. You know, it's always nice to know what the fake news media is saying. But there was a valid point on there that really got me upset at the idea of this. That Scotland, for many, 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 many years, have been clamouring for independence, and they tried in 2014 with the Scottish referendum then, and they lost. This time, however, it could be different. I hope it isn't, but it could be different. And next year, certainly by 2019, Scotland could be an independent country. And if that's what they want, well, I will respect their democracy. I will respect their decision. I may disagree with it, but I will respect their decision. But something that did make me quite upset a moment ago was the idea that if the Scottish people, if the Scottish government are doing this, as we know they are, for basically reasons that they don't approve of the fact that we voted to leave the European Union, that we voted for Brexit, well, what's to stop London or Cardiff or any of these cities or towns or corners of the United Kingdom that the people there aren't happy with us leaving the European Union? So couldn't they decide to have a referendum on whether they want to remain a part of a country that they perceive to be, well, not their country anymore? That they perceive to be a racist, bigoted country because people like me, people like my mum and my dad, voted Brexit. For as they see, as the people of Scotland and Cardiff and London see, for racist reasons. And not for the reason that I voted for, which was that I just want us to be independent and I don't want us to be a part of a bureaucracy. But I wouldn't like that, you know. I wouldn't like the idea that London could hold a referendum to effectively become a separate country, as it were. Oh, that would break my heart. Because I love that city so much. I really do. And it would really, really upset me if that were to happen. But hopefully it won't. And hopefully Scotland won't leave. And hopefully we will remain the United Kingdom of Great Britain, Scotland, and Northern Ireland. Thanks for listening to the Paul Clark Podcast.